and they magically appear for you. If all of the solutions could just automatically fade into your life, I would think that would be a great thing. These solutions take a little bit of work, implementation, negotiating, crafting, but they're there. As I said to Susan, the solutions do exist. For inadequate channels, we want to do a channel assessment. We want to find who's using what, how, and whether or not we are using the right software. What if we're using channels that nobody uses, or platforms that people are undertrained on? A lot of times, if we go into an organization and they say, we have, an overload of channels and platforms, we end up saving them money by helping them reduce their memberships or their software memberships in that space. Lacking staff feedback, that's a perfect opportunity for focus groups, or as I said to Chris, in lean vernacular, that's basically a Kaizen meeting, talking to people about what the process is, pulling it apart person by person, or representative by representative, depending on how large your organization is and how big your Kaizen is, and finding ways to create streamlined processes or better communication flow so that you're updating to the needs of the ecosystem that you're working within. Culture or resistance to certain types of communication, that's often overcome by using a layered messaging strategy, which we'll talk about next. No internal comms strategy. Obviously, I can't go into how to create all of that because it won't apply to everybody in the same way. So that is a follow-up meeting. Anything with the red diamond-shaped bullet either indicates a resource or an asset that you're going to get in the asset package that I will be showing you later. So all 5 of those bullet points, just know that you will have follow-up information after this workshop to work with. So ineffective messaging, you're going to want to look at the messaging campaign model that we're going to distribute, and brevity guidelines. I don't know how many of you read Axios or are familiar with their book, Smart Brevity, but Axios is really trending to be the go-to content creator, not because they have specifically excellent content head and shoulders above everybody else, but the way they communicate their content is brief, it's snappy, it's attention getting, and it allows you to skim. And a lot of organizations are trying to be too clear. They're providing all of the details in every text message or every email message or every newsletter article, and that has bred the new activity where people respond with a snarky little email that says TLDR, too long, didn't read. And that's unfortunate because the intention is to make people feel confident and understand a process or a workflow or a concept. But with too many words, people can't skim, they can't scan, and it takes too much time for them to read. And so they find it invaluable. And that's also a waste of the content creator's time, which folds itself into that $550 billion that we lose every year. So brevity guidelines, we're providing you an infographic about how to go about writing with brevity. The book Smart Brevity, it is the longest book on brevity you will ever read. It's only 100 pages or so, but it is unfortunately not written in the same way that Axios delivers the rest of their content. So we've been teaching this for a while. We segue from their theories a couple times, but we try and deliver a similar concept with fewer words and better pictures. Information sharing, how do you overcome the deskless environment? Use multimedia channels if you can. Use video, use podcasting. Make your content accessible to people that aren't, text first learners. It's really easy to get in front of a Zoom camera, record yourself doing a 1.5-minute video. You'll be surprised at how much content you can deliver. And if you can get that out to your people who are out in the field, that is the fastest and easiest way to capture their attention. And think about it this way. One of the organizations that We Are Courting is an energy company that they install, most of their personnel install solar panels. So the solar panel installers are out in the field. And capturing them has been very difficult. And previous leadership expected those people not to get their information in real time during the workday, but to go home and log in afterward and get their information at that point in time, which I don't know, maybe in a previous life I was a labor advocate, but I don't think that that's fair. I think that there are much easier ways that you can work around that if you're creative in your channel usage. For example, if you have people that ride the metro or the bus, if you have a 15-minute podcast about a specific issue, whether it's entertainment or information or creating those staff spotlights, and it's an interview of somebody who's doing a job, you can be assured that the person who's on the bus or in the metro can pop their earbuds in and listen to that. And that is a golden nugget. It's an opportunity that you can use to capture and entertain and inform all at the same time that doesn't require reading or filing down. And if that content is housed on your intranet, if there's a living, breathing space in your intranet, a portal maybe designed just for these types of messages, people can come back to them as often as needed. Let's roll down to collaboration. The lost sense of community. Again, that's that staff spotlight opportunity, whether it's an audio, a video, or a text piece of content. You can share information about people within the organization who might not otherwise meet each other. How to address silos? Well, it kind of goes hand in hand with that intranet conversation where you're creating organizational awareness. People know what the right hand and the left hand are doing as they're doing their jobs, and they're able to work in tandem with them. I use the term single source of truth because not everybody uses an actual intranet or SharePoint software. The single source of truth is just another way of saying one place for all your information, zero chaos. And then the brain drain piece, this is something I'm really excited about. We do something, and we encourage organizations to do something called work sprints. And the name doesn't necessarily exist outside of this conversation. We're, as far as I know, the only ones kind of driving this, but it's a virtual opportunity for people to work in the same space at the same time. It's not an online meeting, though it is held on Zoom or similar video channel. And it's an invitation for the entire staff to come together and be in the same proximity at the same time and doing whatever work they need to do. They can turn off their microphone and take a call. They can turn off their video and move around. It's not about an all-staff meeting. It's not sharing information. It's not about monitoring who's doing what work or counting fannies in seats. It's not about that type of productivity. The productivity that is built through a work sprint is the opportunity to be in the same place at the same time and have those inspired, innovative, off-the-cuff moments where creativity and collaboration can happen. So if we are all in the same work sprint, I'm not talking, you're not necessarily talking to me, we're just all working, but Sandy has a question, or we're working on a project together, and we go off into a break room like we would a normal break room or a meeting room, and we can talk things through, and we can invite other people in with us and have those conversations and work in the same space. Or if we're all together and I realize, oh my gosh, Mark, he worked on something, I read it in the staff spotlight, and the challenge that he overcame was applicable to something I'm about to do. I want to ask him some questions about it. Again, pop off into a breakout room, done, we're having the conversation. It's a way for people to see each other, to understand that everybody is on the same team, working in a way that supports the mission, even though they're doing different jobs. It solves a lot of problems. It breaks down silos. It breaks down the walls that we kind of put up when we have different types of workers. This is not necessarily a good workaround for the deskless worker, but definitely for hybrid and for those that are remote or in the office. So I believe that there's a link to a blog article that is on our website about it. I've written about this. Also, if anybody here is from ASAE, it was in the associations now communications, I believe, last week. If you need any more information about it, obviously, please just reach out. I'm happy to talk about it.